When we think about Bible study, we can think about it in terms of listening to the biblical text, questioning the biblical text, or analysing the text. But in this episode, we're going to look at something different, and that is using our imagination. When we read our Bibles, we often think about the Holy Spirit working through our minds or our hearts. But one area we don't often think about is our imagination. Christian author Ellen White describes the use of the imagination in Bible study like this. She encourages, "Let us in imagination go back to that scene and, as we sit with the disciples on the mountainside, enter into the thoughts and feelings that filled their hearts." Now the question is, why would God want to use our imaginations like this? Well, she goes on to explain. By understanding what the words of Jesus meant to those who heard them, we may discern in them a new vividness and beauty, and may also gather for ourselves their deeper lessons. So when we are using our imaginations like this, we are asking the Holy Spirit to put into our own minds and hearts exactly what these original people who were involved in those Bible stories were thinking and feeling. As always, when we start Bible study, we want to pray that the Holy Spirit is going to be our guide, and most importantly, to claim God's own promise to us that He is going to give us wisdom so that we can reflect ourselves what is on His own mind and heart for us. Next, we're going to choose prayerfully a passage to study. Now, for this particular type of Bible study, the stories of the Gospels are a wonderful place to start. Once you have chosen your passage, first of all, you're going to read through it a number of times because you really want to become familiar with the story from its different dimensions. Secondly, once you have become familiar with the story, choose one of the people in the story and think about it from their perspective. Now, as we noted, what we're doing in this form of Bible study is learning how to enter into the thoughts and the feelings of those people who were in the biblical stories themselves. Now, let's take the example of Zacchaeus in Luke 19. Imagine you are Zacchaeus. What was it like to be small and not be able to see Jesus and have to climb up into the tree? What was it like to look at the crowd bustling and hustling around Jesus? Were you longing that Jesus would look up and see you? What was it like when you did hear Jesus say, "Zacchaeus, come down here because I would like to come to your house"? How did you feel? What did you think when you heard Jesus say, "Today salvation has come to this house"? What was it like for you in your heart and mind as you went around and collected your money to redistribute it to those that you had stolen from before? Now, using our sanctified imaginations, what was it like perhaps to be Jesus? What was it like to have so many people crowding around you? What prompted you to look up and see Zacchaeus in the tree? Why did you choose Zacchaeus to come down and go to his house? Now think about this story from the viewpoint of someone in the crowd. If you were in the crowd, were you wanting Jesus to come to your house? What was it like for you to hear Jesus call someone else's name? Was there a longing in your heart for Jesus to come to your house? Or were you rather jealous that it was Zacchaeus? Maybe you thought that Jesus made a terrible mistake going to Zacchaeus' house rather than your own. Now, during your time of Bible study, you can look at a story from multiple angles. You don't just have to choose one. But then when you get to the end of your time, it might be a good idea to summarize your thinking. And here's 2 application questions. First of all, as you thought through this story using your imagination, what did you learn about God? And secondly, was there something important that you learned about yourself? Finally, respond to God in prayer as you have looked at this story and asked the Holy Spirit to bring into your own mind and heart the thoughts and feelings of the people who were there in person. What is it that you have learnt that you can respond back to God about? Now, if your imagination is anything like mine, my imagination can run wild all over the place. So when we're doing this type of Bible study, it's very important for 2 things: to keep a prayerful attitude and to remain close to the biblical text. That enables us to accurately understand what is on God's own heart and mind rather than our own. My prayer for you as you learn this method of Bible study and experiment with it, that God will give you a holy, sanctified imagination, that His word, the thoughts and feelings that are on His mind for you, will come alive and thrill your heart and mind.